Hello and welcome! Silrace here with Build Showcase. Build on your screen right there. Pause the video if you wish to copy the exact main components, also listed in the description below. Timberwolf C variant. Note at the time of recording I have mastered pilot skill wise the Timberwolf C variant. So if you don't yet have your basic and elite and even the master pilot skills, you will see less performance from this particular build. Also note that no modules at all were in use for these games. And so if you have the modules to go with this build, you will obviously see a performance increase from this build. Now, Timberwolf is a very good heavy mech. This is the sort of a loadout, however, which is of personal fun. I won't call this the most awesome build you can do on a Timberwolf. It just isn't. However, it is something I have personally had fun with. Let's just put it that way. I have been enjoying playing it, and sometimes that is the most important thing. At least to me. So UAC10 coupled with a large pulse and a couple medium lasers thrown in for a good measure. Ammunition wise, if you need to destroy the entire enemy team by yourself, then yes, you will run out of ammo. For the majority of your games with this much ammo for the UAC10, you won't really run out. Just something to note, if you wanna take this build into, let's say, the faction play, then yes, add more ammo into this build. Now, this build also is not an alpha monster, so you can't just alpha strike and hide to do your things. This thing requires a little bit more of a firing line, or a little bit more face time to really do its thing because of that Ultra AC-10. Note the places I am hiding. Like, Timberwolf is a fast enough mech to catch up with your team, because I hadn't figured out what the heck is going on in this game. It's like, my team was split all over the place, the enemies were splitting all over the place, and I was just waiting for, you know, the game to develop a little bit, and then start heading out there. Yes, I didn't see a reason to just start charging, because this is not really a brawling build. This is not really a build which you really want to go 1 versus 1 against enemies and hope to come out on top. Doesn't really work that way. And Timberwolf is a mobile heavy mech. It's fast and mobile enough to really keep up and catch up with your team. So I'm taking advantage of that. I mean, well, you can see the speed where I'm coming here and catching up with the rest of my team. Not really an issue. And of course, having a couple jump jets helps with that mobility. Helps traverse terrain, at least somewhat. Now here is where there starts being enemies. This is where most of the enemies are, so let's make sure not getting shot by everybody, because poked around over that hill, and frankly too many enemies had a firing solution on me. But hey, now there is only one who can shoot back, so let's shoot at that thing. Of course I have a commando and whatnot running right in front of me, but just stop firing for that second. And then run over here and start pouring fire on somebody else. Because try and not expose yourself to too much enemy fire. Of course, the Timberwolf, a 75-ton heavy mech, which used to be quite strong, isn't, well, let's just say it is still a strong heavy mech. Not quite as strong as it was when it originally released into the game. However, it still is a strong heavy mech, and so you are very much welcome to tank some damage from time to time, and you definitely should share some armor with your team. That's exactly how things go. And because of the speed of the Timberwolf, had all these enemies charging into the team, so went back to help out the team. destroy the enemies who overextend like that, and you are suddenly in much better shape as a team. Because that is fairly important. As if you abandon your teammates, no matter the mech you play, no matter the build you play, you very likely are getting close to losing. Alright, now we're kind of clumped up here on a low ground, which is never a good thing, because giving enemies the high ground advantage over you is not usually a good idea. So I push a little bit from the side to try to get the enemies to back off a bit. Of course there is a spider in front of my face. Unfortunately that scouted my positioning, or scouted where I was coming in from, but apparently not everybody was paying attention to what the spider saw. That's okay with me. Well, finally I also have a friendly here to help out. And of course I am kind of alone here right now, well, aside of that one friendly who came with me, but here we go. I got the nice side shots going, and missing shots at close range with the UAC. It's not something you want to do. I would like to shoot down this Raven because it's in a pretty bad shape. One reason why I was trying to shoot it down, not necessarily the best mech to focus fire, but I wanted to shoot it down because it's in a bad shape. And when you remove a mech from the battlefield, as in you kill it, that means there are less weapons on the enemy team to shoot at you. Another thing is this Viper is nearly dead, it still has clan SRMs left, so would like to finish that thing off. And now it has a stick, now can ignore it. And then of course there's a catapult around, go and get close to that. This does have short range missile launcher, but Timberwolf can tank a surprising amount of damage. And so you should take advantage of that from time to time. Now, unfortunately I shot the Viper there. I essentially wasted fire on the Viper, something I should not have been doing. And if you look at the armor profile, I have tanked fairly well with Timberwolf so far. Basically everything is in orange, or well right now finally getting armor stripped off certain parts, get the back of an awesome. Fortunately I can't hang around there to keep shooting it in the back because of so many enemies coming right at me, and this leads to my demise. Moving from the landscapes of grim Plexus to the foggy Viridian Bog. Timberwolf is old clan tech when it comes to this game by now. It was among the first clan mechs introduced to the game, and everybody is used to seeing them already by now. Everybody remembers how strong the Timberwolf was and still is. And so that is a psychological aspect you can definitely use to your advantage when you're playing the Timberwolf. There will be people who completely ignore your teammates to shoot at you, to try to kill the absolute terror that a Timberwolf is and can definitely be. Something to keep in mind when you play the Timberwolf, because you can try to hide from all the enemies, or you can take advantage of it by going in there and making yourself the tank, because Timberwolf can definitely absorb a whole lot of punishment. If you tank well all the incoming damage, you can absorb a whole lot of punishment, and that allows your teammates to destroy everybody else, because those people are busy focusing the terror that is the Timberwolf. Now, this particular build doesn't overheat very easily, as you saw there at the end of the last game. when I just went in there, especially with this double basics from having finished eliting out the mech, just went in there and for a long time was able to fight until it came to that overheat. And the overheat obviously meant my death at that point, but there wasn't too much to do anyway. Would have died very very soon anyways. However, even with this particular build, it is not difficult to rack big damage numbers and whatnot with a Timberwolf. After all, Timberwolf is a strong mech still, and you can play badly, fairly badly. You can just charge in there with odd, not completely optimized builds like this one, and still do very very well. Works extremely well for that particular thing. Now I am playing the high ground here. Why am I playing the high ground here? Because, frankly, having high ground is a good thing. It is just how it goes in general. If you have the high ground on your enemies, then you're likely have a superior positioning over them. Doesn't hold true for every single mech or every single situation, but for the most part it does. Now, enemies are kind of clumped in one region of the map, so also getting a flank like this going can be very very effective. And Timberwolf definitely has the mobility to pull it off. Of course I'm gonna get shot from the right side here, so essentially there is something still on my flank. However, most of the things on there should be small mechs. Little things without that much firepower on them. Now of course I walk in front of a friendly here, and that is my bad. However, I needed to get out of that particular position, so there you go. And now I'm going to back a little bit to avoid getting in front of that friendly once more. However, people are pushing in, and that means pushing in with the team. I was honestly thinking that folks would like go on top there and then, you know, just trade fire, because that would have worked fairly well for us. Then they decided to go walk downstairs instead and go that way, essentially leaving the whole top empty. That was a very odd decision. That means, well, I am almost alone on this high ground now, and well, that means I probably have to stay up here then, to try and provide support fire for the people who went downstairs. Thankfully, this build can definitely do that. If I was in a much closer range brawl build, I would probably have pushed with the team. Trying to deter the Shadow Cat. It does position fairly well back there though. So anyway, at this point then, decide to go with the team, and going down here means that I should have shots at people who run away from my team. Unfortunately though, they don't have anybody else to shoot at, so they are just free to shoot at me. And the Shadow Cat shows itself, so pour some fire into that. And here we go, enemies are charging right into me, because they saw a Timberwolf, kind of alone. However, because Timberwolf is mobile mech, go and catch up with the team. Position in such a way that I can pull the enemies into my team and get up here on the high ground and go hunt down a crab. Because why not? And the crab one goes downstairs to join the rest of my team down there. And now I have the high ground where the enemies used to be. Warhawk in hiding, wait for it to come into view. Well, if it doesn't, it's dead anyway.
Target spotted.
But here I have the high ground where the enemies used to be, and I can start poking from their high ground on them as they are down there. And there is the shadow cat, so let's pour some fire into that. Oh, okay, it's the stick, ignore it. Kill the things which are not a stick yet, which are still a threat. Didn't want to jump down there because a little bit too many things down there for well, to shoot at me.
New target acquired.
However, the game is starting to turn onto us. As in, if you look at the kills and whatnot, we have the lead quite nicely. Probably take a long time to hunt down the shadow cat, which is a stick, because people tend to do that. However, here I have a very nice flank on this particular Timberwolf, so I can definitely keep this firepower going. And there is still a Kodiak down here, which I don't know if I had done anything about. Missiles coming in as well. Let's hide from those. Let's make sure I stay alive to, well, go in with the team to finish off the enemies. And remember, build brings jump jets, so when you jump down from somewhere, you do want to use those jump jets. Now I have teammates surrounding me. Let's push in as a team. Let's take care of this Timberwolf, which is double PPC and a gauge rifle. And it's a scary build as well out there, but that doesn't mean it is unkillable. It might just be scary. And I'm using the hill here as a sort of a cover for myself to try and finish the Timberwolf off. And of course there's a catapult, which is the final enemy around. Thank you very much for watching, as this game is basically done. Try to build out, it's fun and effective.